Hello and welcome. You clicked on the long range discussion here at East Coast Weather Authority. I am meteorologist Mike Griffith. It's a little after 8 o'clock p.m. here on Saturday evening, February 2nd, 2019, and it is Groundhog Day. And Punxsutawney Phil out there in western Pennsylvania did not see his shadow, I think is what the word on the street was. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that type of stuff. It's really like rolling the dice and predicting the weather. You can either be right or be wrong based upon two different calls. Actually, it's the flip of a coin. So I'm not really sure what he saw. It's apparently going to be an early spring or something like that. Well, it could have some credence this year. Let me show you what exactly I'm talking about right here. This is the GEFS, or the Global Ensemble Forecasting System, which is a bunch of runs averaged out from the GFS. Look at this here on Monday. Notice we start to build a ridge of high pressure in the East Coast. So we're looking at the jet stream right now, the overall upper patterns. Here comes the Pacific jet stream like this, down over southern Alaska, and then down a trough into Southern California, and then a ridge here over much of the East Coast of the United States. So what this is going to be is this is going to be a high pressure right here over the east as we go into Monday of next week. And, excuse me, what this is going to do is it's going to pump up our temperatures here, especially from the northeast down into the southeast. There is no question that that's going to happen here. Meanwhile, Southern California in general, are going to be getting slammed by these storms out here out west. And it looks like a ridge is trying to get going here, just in the Gulf of Alaska or Southern Alaska. We don't really think that that's going to have a huge effect on the overall upcoming pattern here. Let's tell you what we're talking about. Let's walk you through next week here. The ridge in the east really wants to hang tough. It doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. Of course, we do have a little bit of ridging here in Alaska. We do have some blocking up here in Greenland. But the issue is that these troughs coming down here over the western part of the United States are what's going to keep our pattern here in the east in a ridge pattern, because the jet stream is going to be going like this. And this is basically the flow of your upper air pattern right here. And it's going to be zonal or directly from the west. It's not going to be a trough in the east, which is what you want when you want to have snow and cold. And that's not going to be happening at least through Wednesday the 6th or so. It's going to remain warm here in the eastern part of the United States. That's really bullish. That's really impressive as we go into Thursday of next week. We're looking at temperatures that are probably going to be in the 70s this coming week. I mean, the magnitude of this ridge, of this upper ridge over here, is just incredible through the 8th or so. And it's looking like this is going to hang tough here in the eastern U.S., at least through the 11th. Notice this big feature out here in the eastern Pacific, I should say. This is the Pacific jet stream. This is going to be screaming into the west coast right here. And you do not want this if you want to have cold and snow. What this does is it causes a trough in the western United States, and it keeps the jet stream to our north here, at least through the 11th or so, which is not this coming Monday, but next Monday. And the high pressure at the surface is going to be up here. The upper ridge is down here over the Bahamas and just east of Miami. That is really not what you want for the pattern for cold and snow. Here comes the southern branch of jet stream. This has been active all winter, and this is actually, I thought at one point, this would be working for our favor, as it would bring moisture into the southern U.S. But unfortunately, what this does is it brings areas of low pressure up like this, and they cut up to the west of the Appalachians at the surface, and they keep us in the warm sector. And that looks like that's what's going to happen here, at least through the 11th or so of this month. And that ridge likes to hang tough there all the way through the 13th, 14th, and the Valentine's Day. Still more indications of ridging there in the east, and more of a trough out here in west. And the Pacific jet stream is still going to be screaming across the Pacific Ocean over here like this. And it's just going to keep barreling these storms into the west coast, and in turn we get what's left over here in the east, and down here to the southeastern sector of these storms, it's going to be warm. And now we're looking at least through the 18th or so is what this pattern is really looking like it's going to be through the 18th. So El Nino is alive and well. I saw a post on Twitter that had a stream of a plume of moisture just continuing to come up out of the southern Pacific and just following the southern branch jet stream up like this. So it's going to be wet. It's going to be lots of rain, especially pretty much in this area and here. It's going to remain. It's going to continue to be wet. Although, well, I wouldn't say continue because it's been kind of dry recently, but the moisture is going to get turned back on. It's going to be warm and wet. Severe thunderstorm outbreaks is probably going to be a thing here in the south, especially in this region down through here. So watch out for this later this month. And I'm in another page called Weather Synopsis. Those are really good guys, really good forecasters. And he was talking about this a week ago, and he had me beat by a week or so. But now I'm finally seeing this here in this long-range setup here. So that's really as far out as the GEFS goes. After that, we have to look at a model called the CFS V2, which is NCEP or NOAA. This is their long-range climate model. It takes into account sea surface temperatures, solar radiation, land surface temperatures, global wave patterns in the jet stream, and kind of takes them all together and throws them into a blender. And it's kind of like an average. So this is 16 ensemble members put together here for North America, I should say. So this is the 2nd of February through the 8th or so, and it's looking like it's going to remain warm here all the way into the southeast. Not so much in the Midwest. It's going to be below normal from the 2nd into the 8th, but then again, the west is also going to be below normal, and that's going to pump up our ridge here in the east, which is going to keep us warm. Now, from the 9th into the 15th or so, it's looking like the let's see, this is precipitation, I should say. Okay, so this is not going to be temperatures. We're going to be a little bit below average for a while, at least into the 8th or so. So this is precipitation. We're going to be dry here through the 8th or so of February, but then look what happens here. As we go after the 9th into the 15th, we start getting wet again here in the East Coast. So if you're a farmer, plan on some extra muddy grounds. Outdoor events, not the best time for them from the 9th to the 15th, especially the south here. Tennessee, western North Carolina, northern Alabama, even all the way up into Maryland and West Virginia, maybe the Ohio River Valley, looking like it's going to be wet at least through the 15th or so. So, again, you don't want to have above normal temperatures and wet. It's just going to be all rain. It's not going to be so much snow oriented. Now, let's take a look at the anomalies here, what the CFS is thinking. Just look at this blowtorch here from the 2nd to the 8th. No big surprise. We've been talking about this. We posted on the Facebook page. It's going to be really warm from the 2nd to the 8th. And then from the 9th to the 15th, it looks like the cold is going to be associated with the negative EPO that's in the models. And it's going to push the cold into the Midwest and into the plains up there in Montana and whatnot. So all that cold is going to be trapped over there, and we're going to be in a pattern where, again, these storm systems are going to move up like this and keep us in the really warm southeast sector of these storms right here. So way above normal from the 9th even through the 15th. We're going to be over halfway of February, and time is of the essence, and we're going to be above average. Not the best news that you want to get for cold and snow lovers at all. So let's take a look at the ending of this, the rest of February, all the way up until the beginning of March. Let's take a look at your precipitation trends here. Now, again, from the 16th through the 22nd or so, we're looking at above normal precipitation here in the east, especially for the Carolinas, western North Carolina, especially D.C., down into maybe Shreveport or so, and then all the way into northern Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. So it's going to be really moist down in there. And lots of people don't like that word. I don't like it either because it's so warm and wet, and we do not want that down here. Now, it looks like the rain is going to hold on from the 23rd all the way into the beginning of March, especially here in the southeast. Not what we want to hear. And it's going to be dry here in the northeast. Warm and dry in the northeast from the 23rd through the 1st, and then warm and wet in the southeast. Again, this is not what you want if you like cold and snow. If you like to go outside and jog, or you have outdoor construction to do, this would be a great time of year to get it done right now, especially as we head into the beginning of March or so. Now, let's take a look from the temperature anomalies from the beginning of from 16th of February to the 22nd of February, I should say. And we're looking at the extended range temperatures here. Again, all the cold is going to be locked up into Canada, and even the northern plains are here as the EPO is negative. This is where all the cold is going to be. And it really honestly looks like from the ending of this month, from the 16th or from the middle of this month or so, later part of this month, 16th through the 22nd or so, it's looking like our temperatures here in North Carolina, D.C., Northeast might be slightly below average here as we looking into the 22nd or so, ending on the 22nd, and maybe seasonable down here in the Southeast. So this could mean anything for the Southeast from the 16th to the 22nd with seasonable and slightly below. If we're going to have one more shot of snow in the Southeast, I would say this is the time frame that we're going to want to have it. Because seasonal February is a really good month for snow and storms. Not so much extended cold, well, maybe depending on what year you're in, but overall, Charlotte gets most of their snow in February, and I would assume other southeast areas cities such as Atlanta and Raleigh, and even up into D.C. and Richmond, you're going to want to have this time of year. So we do have one more shot, probably between the 16th and 22nd or so, is what I'm thinking. And we're not totally writing it off all the way into March 1st, the 23rd, into March 1st or so. Again, we're looking at really just generally seasonal temperatures here, maybe slightly below, close to average from the 23rd to the 1st. Anytime after the 16th up to the 1st, we will have a chance for any type of winter storm. You can't say it's going to be warm the entire month of February and write off winter altogether and swear off winter. We just can't do that because it's only February 2nd, and the models really have been trending warm, but then now we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern break after mid-month. But the only thing is that we're just hoping that it's not going to get delayed like it was back in November and December when we were saying that, it's going to be really cold, and then it's not, because it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. But we can say with good confidence that at least the first half of February right now is going to definitely be above average, warm and wet, at times warm and dry in the Northeast, warm and wet in the South. Not really a pleasant situation if you're a cold and snow lover. Now, here we go with March as a whole. Again, this is just the CFS guessing, and the CFS does have a warm bias, unfortunately, so we can't get a clear picture of what's going on. But it is absolutely torching much of Canada and even the northern plains all the way down into the North Carolina, South Carolina border, northern part of the United States, and all the way up here into the Midwest. Looking like a real high probability of above normal temperatures for the entire month of March. So if we're going to get any winter storms, if we want them to happen, we're going to want them to happen between mid of February, around the 16th, all the way up to the 28th, because after that, we don't know what's going to happen. We're not saying it's going to be above normal. It could be closer to average, but these indications right here are saying that it's going to be above normal. I mean, look at the below normal temperatures out here in Alaska. What that tells me is that there's going to be a trough out here in Alaska. Okay, so it's going to be, the jet stream is going to come to the south, and it hit the west coast, and at some point it's going to have to go north. And again, we're going to be on the wrong side of the jet stream. We're going to be underneath it. It's going to be to our north, and it's going to keep us warmer than average. So this is your long-range outlook from February into March of 2019. I wish you well. Everybody have a great time. East Coast Weather Authority meteorologist Mike Griffith. Have a great weekend, and we'll try to get back to you soon.